Hi and welcome to ThePapare.com. Today we've got with us Sri Lanka's rugby football trainer, the strength and conditioning coach of the national teams and as well as the national representative teams at the age group level. Nick Groube is with us all the way from the South Island of New Zealand, from Canterbury. Nick, how are you enjoying the sunshine so far?
Yeah, it's good. The weather is, especially the temperature, is far different to what we get back home. So there's definitely been a large adjustment period that's gone into the last 6 weeks, but I'm loving it.
Well, you've been here a few weeks so far. You've had time to get acclimatized and see what the setup is like. Is it what you were expecting or very different?
I didn't really come into it with any expectations, so it's just been a one building block after another at this point. So just very process orientated. And now that the ball's rolling, we can just really sink our teeth into it and get things underway.
Well, you come from a very rich rugby culture in Canterbury, Nick, but coming into the national setup here, do you find, say, if Canterbury's 8 out of 10, where do you think we are at the moment?
We're in a very early stage of strength and conditioning development in this part of the world. Okay. So there's a lot to work with. There's a tremendous amount of raw talent in this country that I've got the privilege of being able to work alongside. But we've got a considerable way to go as far as directing the kind of strength and conditioning work that we're doing, and getting everything moving in a direction that is going to do nothing but help performance of rugby in this country. Okay,
and talking about the strength and conditioning, it's not something that you can look at only when you come into the national side, is it? It's something that you need to look at junior levels as well as club levels, because that's where they're going to be doing most of their training. So have you had a dialogue, or is it on the cards that you speak to the club coaches as well?
Yeah, so that's absolutely correct. We need to start it at a very, very early age. It is, once again, it's a process that is on the cards to start implementing sooner rather than later, but it's been sort of a whirlwind process moving into this role. So priority number one has been working alongside the men's squad, and now that everything is coordinated within that system, we can start slowly to moving our focus towards other pressing issues within the development of all rugby at all levels here. So we will be slowly introducing S&C at different levels, all levels across rugby. It's just a matter of being able to direct time available towards those efforts.
Okay, so you've started obviously with the 7th squad. What has impressed you and what needs to improve with the S&C of the boys?
Like I said before, there's a tremendous amount of raw talent in this country, and you've got some guys that are very physically capable of performing at an incredible level. It's the issue that we've got is that there has been not the greatest direction taken as far as strength and conditioning goes towards total athlete performance. So that has been the first step as far as introducing a more rounded program to the national team. So now that we've got that underway, we can start really focusing on developing weaknesses within each individual athlete, which will do obviously nothing but help performance for each of them. But yeah, it's just going to be a step-by-step process of improvement.
Well, the guys are very much in the gym. Gym culture is a big thing now in Sri Lanka, but you were actually saying that training age of Sri Lankan athletes might not be where they need to be at national level.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to our layman, what training age means?
Yeah, so training status or training age is just a relative term to describe how experienced or how competent one person is as far as training within a gym environment. So that'll come down to how long they've been lifting correctly, how much external coaching has been provided in the right direction, and that'll just come down to how much hands-on monitoring they will need every time they're in the gym. So the lower the training status of an individual, the more hands-on the process has to be.
Which means you've got to be watching them every lift.
Yeah. Yes, there's got to be a lot of coaching cues provided. There's got to be a lot of hands-on directive. And then the more advanced an athlete or an individual becomes as far as lifting goes, then the less monitoring is required. You can almost just provide a program and you've got an assurance that they're going to be able to execute it effectively, and then there's one less item off my plate to deal with.
Social media is a big thing here, so especially with the rugby players as well. So we've seen a lot of them with their six packs and stuff like that, very low body fat percentage. But does that translate into performance improvement directly? Because it seems to be the perception that yes, if you've got this, then you've got to be performing at the highest level.
Yeah, I'd love to say yes. The boys aren't going to appreciate me saying no, but no, it's not usually the way that it works. Although it's well and good having a low body fat percentage, that doesn't always correlate to being a top level athlete, and it doesn't always correlate to having an actual low body fat percentage, because we can carry a lot of our body fat internally around internal organs versus all of the adipose tissue that we have as humans. So one doesn't always mean the other. It certainly can, but that's part of the process that we've got to go through as well. So all of the athletes have to be individually monitored as far as body composition goes, which will give us a broader overview of how they are tracking as an athlete, as well as monitoring strength outputs as well as fitness outputs, which will give us a big picture view of how each individual fits within the team. And if you've got all of the pieces fitting within a puzzle, then everything leads towards success. But it's just a step-by-step process to making sure everything's tracking in the right direction.
So what's your relationship with the coaching staff going to be, Nick? How would you fit into their programs?
So a lot of what I do is working alongside a team blueprint anyway. So there's always a conversation weekly, monthly within the coaching staff of a team, just to make sure everyone's on the same picture. Matt and I within the men's team have ongoing conversations about how we want the week to look as far as programming goes, where we need to start prioritising time. So whether Matt would like more time hands-on skill as far as team trainings go, or he's able to allow the players a wee bit more time with me just to start directing them a wee bit more physically. So it's sort of just a never-ending process of communication between the entire coaching staff of a team, just to make sure everything is in its place.
And what about recovery and supplementation, Nick? Have you done a lot of talking to them about that as well? How is that progressing here in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, it's a never-ending process. If I'm honest, the recovery systems that I've seen haven't been great, and there's a lot that we can do to adjust this. So it's just education is the only way that you're able to affect change in that regard, because once again it just becomes too much of a hands-on process. So if we can start educating the athletes to direct their recovery and supplementation in a better manner, then everything will slowly start falling into place. Supplements is a completely different kettle of fish. There's so much grey area with its supplementation as far as the national governing bodies go, that you keep coming across red tape and brick walls. So it's a process that we're attacking at the moment, to slowly start to get everything sussed towards the way that we need it to be moving, and the way that's only going to benefit the athletes, because there's got to be an accountability between us and the athletes to make sure that they're taking the right stuff when they're not with us, and an assurance from us that they are being provided the right stuff when they're with us. And if those two aspects can move harmoniously, then there's never going to be an issue.
So you've got a national athlete. Do you have a mandate from the union to be able to say, look, I don't want this guy running to the ground, or I don't want this guy putting on too much weight?
Yeah. So there's a standardised process that I've helped establish within all levels of rugby thus far. So each athlete will have a set of criteria that we would ideally have them at, and then we can slowly start directing the work that we do towards each of those target areas. So within sevens, body composition and fitness is always going to be a massive priority. We need the guys to be able to get around the paddock. You need at least a handful of guys that are going to be able to play 14 minutes within a tournament every game. So we need the guys to be fit first and foremost, and body composition and fitness are obviously the two biggest components of that. So if we can direct the work that we do within trainings towards those, then we can't not succeed. And then we can slowly start ticking off other metrics along the way as well.
Well, obviously we can't compare the Sri Lankan setup at the moment to what it would have been like even in Canterbury. But what is it like compared to other Asian countries? And Nick, do you have any experience?
It comes back to that training status, athlete training age. So we're very youthful as far as our training age goes in this country. So that's going to be something that's been highlighted and that we can start attacking moving forward. There's a lot of financial assistance provided to many of the other Asian nations, and that has allowed them to be further ahead in their development of players within each of the athletes that the countries that we're competing against, first and foremost within the Asia series. So all things considered, for our guys to be performing at the level that they are and achieving the results that they are, considering the training status of a lot of our athletes,
we're punching above our weight.
Yeah, absolutely, without question. So if we can start directing the work that we're doing very accurately, we can start overtaking a lot of these other countries that we're competing with without any effort at all.
Fantastic. So in sum up, challenges, but they're fixable?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
Nick, I hope you enjoy your time here, mate. Thanks a lot for joining us on ThePapare.com. Looking forward to Nick Groube making our players bigger, stronger and faster, and probably hopefully aiming for the best in Asia in 15s and 7s and at age group level. Nick, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for having me.